Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on Parliament Television today, Thursday, 13th February 2025, as we wait for live parliamentary proceedings at 14:30 hours to be on live commentary. My name is Matimba Mkua.
And my name is Mtalifeli Lismate. Of course, we're joined by our sign language interpreter, Jason Manda. Good afternoon. Matimba, a quick look at what happened on the floor of the House yesterday.
Yes, when business resumed yesterday at 14:30 hours, Madam First Deputy Speaker did make some announcements. Madam First Deputy Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Winslow Preparatory School in Lusaka District, pupils and teachers from Ashford Academy in Lusaka District, and also pupils and teachers from Covenant International School in Chibombo District. And so Madam First Deputy Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
Yes, indeed. And then after that, there were urgent matters without notice. These were considered on the floor of the House. And yesterday, we had, as per standing orders, we had 3 matters, and the first one was from Mr. Chewe. Unfortunately, it was inadmissible. This was on the measures being taken to sensitize the nation on the new bank notes the Bank of Zambia had introduced. So this was inadmissible. The second one, Matimba?
The second one came from Nakonde, Member of Parliament, Mr. Lucas Simumba. This was on the long distance. Pupils in rural areas had to travel to access from one education following the introduction of the revised curriculum. This one was admissible, and so Madam First Deputy Speaker directed the Minister of Education to issue a ministerial statement on Tuesday, 18th February 2025.
And then the last matter that came up for consideration yesterday, or that was raised yesterday, was by Mr. Katakwe, and this was on the teachers that were being transferred following the revised curriculum in schools and how recruitments would be conducted. So this matter was admitted, and Madam First Deputy Speaker directed the Minister of Education to issue a ministerial statement on Tuesday, 18th February 2025. So those were the 3 matters those are the 3 matters that were considered yesterday.
After that, the House considered questions for oral answer numbers 171 to 182 under Standing Order 80.
Okay, and then after that, the House then considered and indeed noted a question for written answer, and this was question number W1, Understanding Order 81, and the reply was indeed accordingly recorded in the daily parliamentary debates. That's the Hansard. And just here to point out that a question for written answer is quite bulky to be considered on the floor of the House. So indeed what happens is that the Minister does come with a response and gives it to the member who posed that question, and that answer will be of use to the Member of Parliament. But because it's part of the business, it is recorded in the daily parliamentary proceeding in debate. That's in the Hansard. So if you need a response for a question for written answer, it can be found in the Hansard. So that is what happened with the questions for oral and written answer yesterday. And then later on,
and so after that, the House did adjourn yesterday accordingly at 17:57 hours. And so this is business that was considered on the floor of the House yesterday, Wednesday, 12 February 2025. Today we expect a business of the House to resume at about 14:30. So just now we shift our attention and we look at today's order paper.
So today's order paper, as usual, when business commences at 14:30, it begins with the national anthem, and then of course the prayer, and then we expect to have announcements by the presiding officer, and then later on urgent matters without notice. And then after that, Matimba, we have indeed information, as we see on the order paper, that we expect to have some ministerial statements.
Yes, and we expect the first one to be delivered by the Minister of Agriculture. This is on the implementation of the Farmer Input Support Program FISIP during the 2024-2025 farming season, and also on the status of a sustainable agriculture financing facility.
Okay, so those are the ministerial statements by the Minister of Agriculture. And then another ministerial statement will be presented by the Minister of Finance and National Planning, and this is on the introduction of the new family of the Zambian currency. So this is a ministerial statement we expect the House to consider today.
After those 2 ministerial statements, we expect the House to consider 6 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80. And the first one is expected to come from Lundazi Member of Parliament, Ms. Brenda Nyirenda. This is question number 183, and she's directing her question to the Minister of Justice. She wants to find out whether the government has any plans to construct local court buildings in the following areas in Lundazi districts. These are Mwase Sub-Boma in Mwase Chiefdom, Mpamba Chiefdom, and in part B, the Member of Parliament for Lundazi wants to find out if so when the plans will be implemented, and what the estimated cost of the project is, and if there are no such plans, why.
So the second question for today, the second question for our answer will be posed by Luansha, Member of Parliament, Mr. Simbao. His question will be directed to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. He wants to know why the construction of a hospital in Fisenge area in Luansha Parliamentary Constituency has stalled. He further wants to know when the project will resume, what the cost of the project is, how much money had been paid to the contractor for the project as of March 2024, and in the last part of his question, he wants to know when the project will be completed.
Question number 185 is expected to come from Mpika Member of Parliament, Mr. Francis Kapyanga, and he's directing his question to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. He wants to find out a question in three parts: whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate the Mpika Kativunga Road in Mpika Parliamentary Constituency, which is in a deplorable state. If so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, why.
Kwacha Member of Parliament this time comes around to pose a question to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. He wants to know whether the government has any plans to reconstruct the Bulangililo Water Works Bridge across the Kafue River in Kwacha Parliamentary Constituency, which is, he says, a deplorable state. If so, he wants to know when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, he wants to find out why.
Another question, this is question 187, is expected to come from Chiengi, Member of Parliament, Ms. Given Katuta. She's directing her question to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. She wants to find out why 14 employees of the Chiengi Town Council were dismissed in February 2024.
Okay, and the last question for today will be posed by Chipili Member of Parliament, Mr. Chala. Directing his question to the Minister of Education, he wants to know whether the funds for the construction of a secondary school funded by the World Bank in Musalango Ward in Chipili Parliamentary Constituency were released as of March 2024. If so, when the construction works will commence, and he also wants to know what the cost of the project is, and if the funds were not released, he wants to know why. So, Matimba, these are the questions that we have today.
Yes, indeed, and so this is business that is expected to be considered on the floor of the House today, Thursday, 13th February 2025. Two ministerial statements from the Minister of Agriculture, and also one ministerial statement from the Minister of Finance and National Planning, and we have 6 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80.
Okay, so if you want to follow proceedings and you need a copy of the order paper, be sure to download it from our website, www.parliament.gov.zm. So in a short while, we do expect that business will commence, and as we did indicate that every time that the House sits at 14:30 hours, business commences with the national anthem. So stay tuned as we wait for the presiding officer's delegation indeed to enter the chamber. And we'd just like to urge you, our dear viewers, that please stay tuned to Parliament TV as we continue bringing Parliament closer to you. You can catch up on DSTV channel 272 and indeed on GoTV. And of course, in case you're not able to watch parliamentary proceedings, Matimba, our viewers can actually get a chance to follow proceedings on radio, not so?
Yes, on Parliament Radio. We are coming to you live on 92.5 FM in Lusaka, and of course in other parts of the country. And also you can follow the proceedings on our Facebook page, which is the National Assembly of Zambia, and also on YouTube, the National Assembly of Zambia.
13th February 2025. This is Parliament TV, the station that is indeed dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you.
Honorable members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
And the sing of Zambia, proud and free, land of faith and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for our right. We want freedom's fight, oh, and strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by those to blend. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun, oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace is Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Green and we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society, the just government of the people. We beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Order, honorable members. I have 3 announcements to make. Honorable members, I've received communication to the effect that in the absence of our honor, the Vice President, who is attending to other government business, the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Honorable Jacob Jack Mwimbu MP, has been appointed acting leader of government business in the House. From today, Thursday, 13th February, until further notice, I thank you. The second announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Rhodes Park School in Lusaka district. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may be seated. The last announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Sunshine Academy in Lusaka district. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may be seated. Urgent matters without notice. The Honorable Member for Ron.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to raise this urgent matter without notice, and it is directed to the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, who is at the same time the acting leader of government business. Madam Speaker, the happenings recently and of late at the traffic circle of Kafue roundabout leaves much to be desired in terms of security. Madam Speaker, juveniles of different ages have sprung up, attacking especially motorists, grabbing things from motorists in daylight without fear or without any remorse. But, Madam Speaker, to make matters worse, some of your members here have been victims of the same. Their phones were grabbed. Honorable Member for Mufurira is the victim who had his phone grabbed at the same traffic circle. Madam Speaker, I want to find out from the Honorable Minister, who is our able minister, as to what is happening with our security personnel, why they are not moving in to defuse that ticking time bomb at Kafue roundabout. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Indeed, that is worrisome. I would maybe ask the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security to come to this House on Tuesday to address the situation of security at Kafue roundabout in Lusaka. Today, unfortunately, we have we've got 3 ministerial statements. And tomorrow we have 2 ministerial statements. So we are remaining with Tuesday. So the Honorable Minister will come to the House on Tuesday. The Honorable Member for Bangweulu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The urgent matter without notice is directed at the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. The Minister is busy.
I'm listening, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, once again. In December 2023, the mobile issuance of NRCs started in Luapula province. But around January last year, that exercise was suspended because it was done during the rain season. And I raised that matter in this House, and we were assured that when we start the mobile issuance of NRCs in the next phase, Luapula will be considered. And indeed, that program, Madam Speaker, started 55 days ago, also in the rain season in December. And that program is ending tomorrow. Unfortunately, during the period of 55 days, for 6 weeks, the field had no material to use. Yesterday, they were given about 1,000 each district, and they ran out. So I just wanted to find out from the Minister, since that program is coming to an end today, tomorrow, if they are going to extend, because within the 55 days, which was given to Luapula province, 30 days was not, during the 30 days they didn't do anything because there were no materials to use. I seek your intervention, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Bangweulu, this is a program that started a long time ago. It's not a new matter. So I would urge the Honorable Member for Bangweulu maybe to come up with a question. Her Honor the Vice President will have a session tomorrow, or you can use the other questions that normally come to the floor of the House. It's an odd issue, an odd matter. It doesn't qualify. The Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the matter of the urgent matter of without notice goes to the Minister of Sports. If he's not here, then I'll direct it to the acting leader of government business. Madam Speaker, if you are coming from the north, coming into Lusaka, and you towards the Heroes Stadium, you'd see that the roof of the stadium, some of the materials used there are coming out. I'm a worried member of Parliament because that one appears to be the only international stadium that we have away from the one in Ndola. Madam Speaker, I'm worried because it is rain season, and I know that a lot of things there might get damaged. And I've seen that it's now getting into 1 month. No attention is being paid to that. Madam Speaker, I need your indulgence so that the Minister could find an urgent way of resolving the damage that is on that roof. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Chitambo. Again, this is not an urgent matter. It didn't happen within 24 hours. However, it is an important issue. I would urge the Honorable Member for Chitambo to come up with an urgent question so that the matter can be attended to as soon as possible. We make progress. I have permitted the Honorable Minister of Agriculture to present a ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture. ICT, can we have the mic on for the Minister? Okay.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I thank you for granting me the opportunity to provide an update to the August House on the implementation of the Farmer Input Support Program for the 2024-25 farming season. The Farmer Input Support Program continues to be one of the cornerstones of our agriculture programs. The program plays an important role in cushioning the small-scale farmers from high input prices. In addition, it facilitates crop production and crop diversification, thereby promoting food and nutrition security. Currently, the program is being implemented in all the 10 provinces, covering all the 116 districts. The program has a target of 1,024,434 beneficiaries who are drawn from the National Farmer Register. Madam Speaker, since its introduction in 2002, the Farmer Input Support Program has mostly been implemented using the direct input support approach. Under the direct input supply, government has been procuring, storing, and distributing the inputs to farmers. This approach has a lot of logistical challenges, inefficiencies, and high administrative costs. Further, the modality does not empower the farmer to make a choice of inputs, as this is predetermined. Madam Speaker, in 2022, Cabinet approved a 3-year migration plan from direct input support modality to e-voucher on a phased acceleration basis beginning in the 2023-2024 farming season with Lusaka and Central provinces. This is aimed at improving efficiency of the program. Under this system, government provides electronic vouchers to farmers who in turn redeem inputs of their choice from selected agro-dealers located in the various districts. A catalogue of inputs such as fertilizers, chemicals, lime, and seed are part of what a farmer can collect. In the 2024-25 farming season, the direct input supply was implemented in 42 districts, representing a 36% of the program. Madam Speaker, 60% of the beneficiaries were on this program, while the electronic voucher system was implemented in 74 districts, representing 64% of the 1 million plus farmers. Madam Speaker, prior to the migration of the 74 districts to e-voucher in 2024-2025 farming season, farmer verification was conducted and all the 1,024,434 farmer beneficiaries were verified. All the beneficiaries were bonded and committed to sell a minimum of 10 by 50 kg bags of white maize to the Food Reserve Agency. To ensure that this commitment is met, the Zambia Agriculture Integrated Management Information System will be integrated with the system at the Food Reserve Agency. This is to make sure, Madam Speaker, that if you do not sell the 10 bags to the Food Reserve Agency, you will be excluded from the program. Madam Speaker, in the 2024-25 farming season, under this DIS modality, government procured 42,775.2 metric tons of D-compound and 42,775.2 metric tons of urea at an estimated cost of $71.8 million. 2 suppliers were contracted to supply and deliver compound D, while 11 suppliers were contracted to supply and deliver urea fertilizer. As at 3rd February 2025, all the procured D-compound as well as the procured urea had been delivered, representing 100% delivery of the fertilizer. Madam Speaker, government has also delivered seed to various districts of the country. And as at 3rd February 2025, all the allocated quantities of seed had been delivered as follows. Maize seed, 2,851.68 metric tons, delivered representing 100% delivery. Soybeans, 1,485.78 metric tons, delivered representing 100% delivery. Groundnut seed, 2,088.73 metric tons had been delivered, representing yet again 100% delivery. Madam Speaker, you recall that this program covered sorghum, cowpeas, common beans, sunflower, soya beans, maize, rice, and millet. Madam Speaker, redeeming of inputs by farmers on the direct input supply modality commenced on the 16th of September 2024. As at 3rd February 2025, a total of 166 farmers representing the 28% of the farmer on the program had redeemed their inputs. Further, under the e-voucher, a total of the 229 farmers representing 72% of had redeemed their inputs too. In other words, Madam Speaker, as at the 3rd of February, the FISI program was declared closed. Madam Speaker, in order to ensure household food security, government has committed to meet the following targets in crop production. For maize, our target is 10 million tons. For soybeans, our target is 1 million tons. And for wheat, our target is 1 million metric tons. Therefore, we shall continue supporting small-scale farmers through the various interventions, including fertilizer and seed support, chemicals and lime, irrigation support, provision of access to credit, mechanization support, and other initiatives aimed at increasing productivity and resilience to climate variability. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, I would like to reaffirm the commitment of the government to improving the livelihoods of our people and increasing food security in the country. Among the many interventions that can actualize this aspiration is the prudent implementation of FISIP and other programs outlined above, which the government is undertaking. Madam Speaker, we remain thankful to the citizens of Zambia for their patience and indeed to the members of Parliament for their commitment. Madam Speaker, I thank you. I have attached to this report, the table, Madam Speaker, which the honorable members would be free to access. It is too long for me to run through. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for that statement. Madam Speaker, farmers in Mpika and Mchinga province as a whole, under the FISP program, have been sharing farming inputs, particularly fertilizer, in smaller units such as medals, tins, and cups. I want to find out from the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, whose trend has not changed over the years, Madam Speaker. How will you attain the 10 million metric tons when farmers in Mchinga province, Northern province, Luapula province, part of Central, and even Copper Belt have been sharing farming inputs in smaller units? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, I thank you, and I'm grateful to the Honorable Member for asking that question. Madam Speaker, we have about 3.5 million small-scale farmers in the country. This program covers 1,024,434 farmers. It is for this reason that the government, Madam Speaker, has introduced other programs like the Sustainable Agriculture Financing Facility. But before I sit, Madam Speaker, let me yet again indicate, as government, we do not support the sharing of fertilizer or seed. And that is why we are very happy with the e-voucher system, because the e-voucher system ensures that a farmer goes to collect what he wants alone. The cooperative is not involved. So the farmer goes to pick what he wants, and in that way, we are hopeful that the issue of sharing will not continue. However, I would like to encourage the Honorable Member to encourage his members to go for the Sustainable Agriculture Financing Facility, which is an affordable credit facility for production in Zambia, agricultural production in Zambia, which as we improve, will only get better and benefit the many farmers. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Katanshi.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Minister, thank you for your statement. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the people of Kantanshi, it's very clear that over the years, the purpose and the meaning of why the FISIP program was established, I think along the way has become diluted by politics. And I'm sure you agree with me that you hear a competition of how many fertilizers this political party, if it becomes, if it forms government, how many fertilizers this other political party is able to offer, without necessarily interrogating why this investment of huge amounts of taxpayers' money. And yet, at the end of the day, Madam Speaker, a bag of milli meal starts to cost us 400 kwacha. Ask the same taxpayers who invested close to $500 million in just one farming season. I wanted to find out from the Honourable Minister, considering that the cost of milli meal continues to remain elusive, even with these huge amounts of money being invested by the taxpayer, has your ministry ever sat down to say, wait a minute, where we are coming from, when the exercise started in 2002, 2001, 2002, we saw the prices of milli meal stabilizing at around 17 kwacha to 38 kwacha. Over the years, considering what I've alluded to in terms of the politics behind FISIP, we have now had prices of milli meal
The
becoming
Honourable
difficult.
Member for Kantanshi, please don't debate your question.
Yes, I just want to emphasize. I just want to emphasize, Madam Speaker, because I'm trying to understand what the government is trying to do in trying to address the core reason of this investment, which is the end price of the cost of milli meal. What is your government doing to go back to the drawing board and see how we can actually, using this investment, produce cheaper prices for our milli meal? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, it's unfortunate that probably the Honourable Member wasn't here, is it yesterday, when the Honourable Minister for Commerce and Trade actually debated, and there was a very lively debate here on the issue of milli meal. Having said that, the purpose of the FISIP program is to support farmers who are seen to be vulnerable but can be turned to a viable farmer. So the vulnerable but viable farmers are the ones we put on FISIP. You are aware, sir, through the Speaker, there's another program for the very vulnerable farmers, and that is under community development. So we are dealing with people who are supposed to be paying back. But for a long time, FISIP has been more or less 100% subsidy, and there was no benefit to the government. What do I mean? One, the farmers are not expected to pay back. Two, the farmers were not even expected to sell anything to the government. And that is why I was emphasizing the sale of 10 bags, so that at least there can be a benefit to the government for this, as you rightly put, almost $500 billion US. So your question is, what are you doing in order to try to bring down the price of milli meal? Madam Speaker, we are now buying maize from farmers at 330 kwacha per 50 kg bag, in order to make the farmer benefit from the agricultural business. At that price, you can't sell milli meal at 25 kwacha or at 50 kwacha. It has to have a reasonable figure. Our aim, Madam Speaker, is that there will be very few people queuing to buy milli meal. For as long as we support agriculture, we'll have more people producing and have less people queuing for milli meal. That should be our target. We appreciate there are provinces which are mining oriented. The people there have got, the communities there have got no time to go and do agriculture. Those have sufficient funds to buy the milli meal as it is being given. But those in the rural areas who are really disadvantaged, we keep on telling them, don't go buying milli meal. Get your maize, go and have it ground, which is quite cheap, and have your meal meal in your homes. That is our target. So this is a program for the vulnerable people. You and I, sir, will not qualify for this. You and I now qualify for SAF or other programs. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, we've got a long queue. And it's not always that whatever response the minister gives, we are happy with it. Others are not happy, others are happy. So please, let's bring out points of order that are really necessary. Not when we are not satisfied with the response by the Honorable Minister. Maybe we are not happy with the response. Let's avoid so that we accommodate all these members on the list here. The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, our order paper indicates that the Minister of Agriculture would address two key issues, that is FISIPO and the Sustainable Agriculture Financing Facility, which is SAF. He has not addressed that part, and in his response to my question, he asked me to help him explain to the people that instead of just depending on FISIPO, they should also go on SAF. But what is happening under SAF, Madam Speaker, is that him has instructed all the banks in Zambia to stop issuing those facilities to the farmers. So we needed him to clarify, Madam Speaker,
Order,
what the
Honorable
position
Member.
is.
Order. I think for the sake of progress, that ministerial statement is still coming. Can we stick to the first ministerial statement instead of preempting the second ministerial statement, which hasn't been rendered? If we can stick to that, we make progress. The Honorable Member for Sikongo.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, one of the biggest challenges that we have in this country that has impacted negatively on agricultural production and productivity is the cost of inputs. And of course, this also includes the cost of fertilizer. Now, Madam Speaker, I would like to ask the Minister, now that through the able leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, this country now has a plant in the name of United Capital Fertilizers that initially brought in the production of D-compound. We are even exporting. And now we have seen the introduction of another plant, that's a urea plant. My question to the Minister is, are we likely to see a further reduction in the price of fertilizer now that fertilizer production in the country is increasing? Thank you so much.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the Honourable Member for that question. The very, very simple and straightforward answer, because I've been to these plants, is yes, we are likely to see a drop in the price of fertilizer. Let me qualify that statement by just looking at what happened last season. Madam Speaker, whilst the international prices of fertilizer landed in Zambia was hovering about 1,200 to 1,300, we bought fertilizer at $850, $830 per ton. And we can only pray that that should be the trend and that we benefit from these huge plants that are coming in. I'm encouraging the honorable members to visit that plant and go and see how the country is developing in this field. We are very proud people, Madam Speaker, in this country, that this year we will not import fertilizer, both D and urea. All the fertilizer would have been produced in Zambia. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Mufulira.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I also look forward to the next statement on the loans. However, Madam Speaker, the question to the Minister is that this e-voucher with the value in it, and then the beneficiary can go to the agro dealer While here in Lusaka we're expecting that they're going to get inputs, there have been reports on the ground that others actually have just approached these agro dealers. Instead of getting inputs, they encash for less the money. Say the voucher is loaded with 8,000 kwacha. They just walk to the agro dealer, get 6,000 kwacha cash, and leave it with the agro dealer to deal with the rest. Now this obviously will have an effect on the output, because it is expected that all those that have encashed these vouchers are going to do farming, especially maize. But those that have transacted cash out of it, Honorable Minister, what measures have been put in place, first of all, to identify them, those that have not gotten the inputs using the e-voucher, but instead have just encashed and walked away with cash? What measures are put in place to stop it or identify those and appropriate action? I submit, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Before the Minister comes in, the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for permitting me to raise a point of order. Pursuant to Standing Order 71(1)(b). But before that, Madam Speaker, with your indulgence, just permit me to convey our condolences to the Honorable Minister of Central Province, who lost a beloved child when we were on recess. Condolences, dear colleague. And the similar token, Madam Speaker, allow me to welcome our Honorable Member of Parliament for Chawama, who has been away for a while, and congratulations for the newly born. Madam Speaker, the point of order I'm raising on the Minister of Agriculture is premised on the response he gave to the Honorable MP for Kantanshi. And in his response, he stated that there has been no benefit to government from the Farmer Input Support Program. Madam Speaker, in his statement, he also informed this August House and the nation that this program was introduced in 2002 and it has been implemented even now. And the Honorable Minister knows that over a period of time, our productive farmers have kept this country food secure. And the IMF do recognize this program as a sustainable program, which just requires to be attended to seal certain loopholes. Madam, this is a house of record. And our farmers who have kept this country food secure must be commended. Was the Honorable Minister, Madam Speaker, in order to insinuate that governments over MMD, which was part of Patriot Front, and now the UPND, have been wasting resources on this program, which he claims has had no benefit to government? Any government, Madam Speaker, can only be safe when people are eating. And when people have got food, affordable food, and not the way it is now, where the bag of meal is 420 kwacha. Was he in order, Madam Speaker, to make that statement? I think it was serious guidance.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Shiwangandu. Not knowing at what level the Honorable Minister was referring to when he mentioned that the government does not benefit. I'm sure I don't know whether there was a study that was done or maybe a survey just to evaluate the same system that he's talking about. So not knowing, Honorable Minister, if there was such a survey that was done or an evaluation to inform us that the program is not doing well. So we are relying on the Honorable Minister, since he's from that ministry, of the status of the program, which I believe, and he says the program there was an evaluation that was done. So I believe that he's just informing the House of the results from the evaluation. So in that manner, the Honorable Minister was not out of order. He's brought us the information that is there at the ministry after the evaluation of the program was done. The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I stand here, I want to put it on record that FISIP has been a very successful program. 85% of the maize that is secured by FRA, Madam Speaker, comes from FISIP.
I'm sorry, Honorable Member. The Minister did not answer the question that was posed or raised by the Honorable Member. That was the Honorable Member from Mfulira? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Indeed, the question from Mr. Gordon Mwila, the Member of Parliament for Mufulira, was not responded to. His question, Madam Speaker, was, what measures have you put in place?